let's go with the facts. This guy doesn't give a fuck if you are Benjamin Netanyahu on air or if you're Obama. He will criticize. He tells you exactly how he fucking feels and what he plans to do about certain shit. And when he says he's going to do something, doesn't matter how long it takes, he ends up doing it, right? Even if it goes against his own party.
Or the other party comes around to our side.
You know what I mean?
Or the other party comes around to our side.
Yeah, either or. It's just, for him, it's just like the agenda. And his agenda is not the powers that be's agenda. You see what I'm saying? So is he playing to a certain tune? Yeah, but it's his own. You know what I'm saying? So it's just that everybody gets so riled up with the racist rhetoric shit. And really, I don't think that that's the fair indictment of him. I don't believe that he's half as
There's no proof of it.
as everybody pretends. I think
it's a made up claim.
I think he's matter-of-factly about his position about, the solutions that he has. But the whole racism trope, that's a whole fucking liberal thing. If anything, they're probably some of the most racist people I've ever come across myself personally. But this whole shit, I mean, it's like, why? One should have to wonder, what is it about what he's doing that makes people really want to kill this man? And if you start really unpacking it truthfully and without bias, I think you'll get past a lot of the layering and racist tropism and shit like that and get to something a lot more nefarious.
It's not just that. Like, what we have now is the fact that, and I'm not going to throw all the Democrats in there because there are some that are just sitting there going, I can't co-sign the shit that's going on in the left, and they're calling it out daily. Fuck, you got Fetterman, you got Frank, you got Frankenstein about to cross the aisle. He's probably going to go independent, but I mean, he might as well just cross the aisle and just get it done with. According to the left, they've turned on him. You've got like fucking idiots like Bill Maher out there, and he's not an idiot, but I mean, still at the end of the day, you have this guy sitting there trying to, like push people and saying, where are the Democrats at? Because this isn't the party that I was part of. And you have a lot more crossing over onto the Republican side. And I'm just sitting here watching this, and when the left loses, they do become violent. They do attack. If you hear a conservative speech, you don't hear Trump, you don't hear Vance, you don't hear anybody really sitting there condemning and saying that the left is a threat to fucking your existence. You may have people now saying this because, quite frankly, they're tired of getting shot at. They're tired of getting beaten in the streets. They're tired of like being doxxed online. But the odd thing is that the left is losing their shit. They can't make Target close their stores. They can't boycott Tesla enough, which was really stupid. I don't know why they were going around damaging Teslas, because quite frankly, it was them that bought the fucking things. But they continuously jump and flip. There's no line. There's nothing they're offering. And so whatever affects them as a group, they just virtue signaling and become violent. And then they're screaming, oh, no, we're the ones standing on the right side of history. And you can't win with a group like that. You just can't. And Americans don't want to co-sign it in mass, which is evidenced by the last fucking election that Trump took all of the swing states. Not even close. And the majority of swing counties. Like, it wasn't even a fucking match. And it's weird. If they actually realized, like, hey, maybe our message isn't sinking in with the majority of Americans, maybe we're the ones that are wrong, maybe people would like, hey, you know what, why don't you take a few years to figure that shit out, and then let's put reasonable people back into play. But the left can't do that.
The recent cipher with the recent indictments of the SPLC for funding Charlottesville. Are you familiar with that?
No, educate me about it.
So the Southern Poverty Law Center was just indicted last week for funding right-wing extremists to throw protest called Charlottesville. This was during Trump's first term. They then framed Trump as the racist when he said something like, "Well, there's good people on both sides."
Oh yeah, I was just playing the clip of that. Do you know what?
Yeah. So
did you watch the whole 4 minutes?
Well, yeah, no, for sure, I'm familiar with that. But look, Joe Biden, when he declared for to run for president for the 2020 election, he said, "I'm running because of Charlottesville." So now it's all come out in this indictment. They're not guilty yet, but it's all come out in this indictment that the Southern Poverty Law Center is funding the racism that they intend to fight against. So the racist trope is completely manufactured from a cottage industry. And the left and the Democrats seize on it to advance their agenda.
Well,
looking to this stuff.
I was actually talking about this in the other group. I was literally talking about this in the other group, and I played the 4 minute thing. He literally, in the same 4 minutes, utterly obliterated and condemned white supremacists and white nationalists. And even, I believe, in the same year of 2019, there's a joint House resolution that designated white nationalists and racists as domestic terrorists, which could imply them, if you're on one side of the law enforcement, if you deem them or connect a nexus to them in white nationalism, would exonerate you of, any criminal repercussions, be getting rid of a citizen or you getting rid of a terrorist. So it's an identifier, right? So the whole thing that the left is leveraging, racism, like Joe Biden's goofy ass thing. You have a hard time figuring out whether to vote for me or Trump, then you ain't black. I'd have slapped the dog shit out that bitch ass motherfucker. Like, I would definitely ask him what kind of audacity did he get from where, because like that is one of the most egregious shit.
You would have had to beat Corn Pop up to that.
Yeah, and Corn Pop too, and yeah, there's so much shit about him. He's the real motherfucker, racist. If anybody.
You really want to know something about Biden's legacy? Go look up the 78-79 Biden policy, which he took from if I could remember it. It's how he pushed for an allocation on schools for school funding.
Yeah, I remember that.
And all that shit, and how the funding actually worked, and how it actually promoted and actually allowed more segregation while it was codified under law, and denied funds to fucking black majority schools in the country. Meanwhile, he's lauded as a great hero for civil fucking rights. I'm sitting there going,
I never saw him in pictures with fucking Rosa Parks, and he never gave money to Jesse Jackson. He didn't give money to the Black Panthers or fly Nelson Mandela in. He didn't sit with Michael Jackson in the goddamn courtroom on both trials every single day. He didn't house Jennifer Hudson and her entire fucking family after they were massacred for 9-6 months. I mean, it's just so much about Trump in his personal life that he didn't never even speak on, which even lets you more know that he's not on that shit. He's been a part of the black community, or not black community, black culture in this sense. Success guy, right? He's even on the fucking Wu-Tang out in the early 2000s and shit. Nobody started saying that he was a racist until he ran for office as a Republican. Then they start talking about all the other shit. See, the other thing about it is too, and this is where I'm going to have to give you guys both sides of this shit, because I can't exonerate white nationalists and white racists too. So if you feel indicted by it, just check your heart. Only thing I would say, if it doesn't, feel any kind of way about it, just, roll with me on this. As a black man in America, I understand the nature of how this country was built upon, right? And I understand we want to move forward past it. So it's hard to do without reparation, and it's hard to do without admitting facts and just correcting history. But I would say to you this. The racist trope is valid to a degree. He validates Trump's ideology, even though I believe in a lot of ways he is a scapegoat. He validates the anxieties and the complaints that other ethnic groups, especially Black Americans, say about white Europeans. On one hand, he's an embarrassment. On the other hand, he builds up or props up white nationalists because they want to align with him, even though he rejects them vehemently, right? That being said, I feel like it's fucked up because he might not be nearly half of the guy that the same time, his existence highlights an undercurrent that has never been really fully fleshed out.
Well,
right? So we have to deal with that.
Here, bear with me a moment. So when Trump came down, his first statement was he wanted a 6-month moratorium on all Muslim immigrants, right? You remember that?
Right.
Okay. So bear with me, because this is a bit of it's a road to get there, but it's not. I'll say it really quick. The people that have the loudest vocal racist cries against Trump tend to be immigrants. They tend to be of a certain persuasion. These are also the same individuals who go and set up shops in black communities or impoverished areas and watch how they actually treat black Americans as if they were lower than dog shit, as if they don't stop. They complain, they scream, they say all sorts of things. But when it's convenient, or when they feel that, oh wait, I can gain a grift off of this, they literally jump on the backs of black Americans saying, you sit down, you're at the back of the line. I'm the one that's being oppressed. And they jump above it, trying to take over and narrate the story of black Americans. And that's the issue I have with a lot of those tropes, like Ilhan Omar.
Right. Now Matt, that's fucking accurate. We have our battles on certain days. I think on Mondays and Tuesdays we get along and agree. On Wednesdays and Thursdays we fight and argue. But I'll tell you this, brother, what you just said was accurate and it was wise, and it's the truth. And that's the thing that I try to tell some of my people about this war, if you will. It's not even a war against black and white. It's really about good and evil, right? And the devil is a manipulator. He sets the stage. If you keep people divided, then they can't never come together, and there's going to be constant war. You can hedge your bet because you can both bet on both sides of the situation, and whoever wins, even though there's no winner, the adversary wins in that, right? But when you're dealing with intelligent minds that can see the manipulation, that's why I'm not feeling no fucking kind of way, because I be thinking about the Democrats who be like, well, you should be outraged and you're an Uncle Tom. But when I let them know when they use that trope, I know you didn't read the book, because the protagonist in that book was Sambo, right? So it lets me know that that's ignorant. But then the other side of it is why do you want me to be so offended, right? Like people talked about Venezuela. Do you know the Venezuelans were happy about what Trump did? Iran, same thing. Nigeria, same thing. But they want motherfuckers to be outraged so you could leverage that to validate trying to assassinate him and his character, or trying to devalue the good work that he actually is and has been doing, right? Because I saw eggs go down. Shit, the top of the year when I came back to America just to stop in, I got gas for $1.72. It's in my PTR. You feel me? When everybody else paying all these, I'm like, how the fuck is y'all complaining about this dude? So it's like, in the world's eyes, you have to have a villain story to kind of scapegoat or bypass a lot of other shit that nobody really wants you to pay attention to. So I agree with you there. And in terms of those immigrants, we know that they're not our partners. We just saw the Latino fucking officer in Houston, Texas, talking about how good she felt to use the N-word. Like, dude, like, you know what I'm saying? We know that there are other motherfuckers that come to this country that's racist as shit, that are real racist. And then they talk about our oppression like we should feel a way about it. I'm like, well, look, at the end of the day, to me, like, yeah, I feel safer in South America and shit, but I ask, you know all this shit, why the fuck would you want to come to America? Because the lighter their skin is, oh, we think we can get in. I was in the elevator with a motherfucker, and they was talking about that shit. And I said, hey, where I come from, y'all Colombians, y'all are worse than niggers. You guys will be treated lower than black Americans, right? So that being fucking said, like, don't think that this is just because your skin. Once you start speaking that Walla Walla, put your ass in a Dorito boat too. So it's not like, you know what I'm saying, like the America is a shit stain that only Americans can really fix. But you have this left hand over here that wants to be morally right, that's just as corrupt, if not more, than the motherfucking Republicans are keeping the shit going. And if you did trace back racism, if you did trace back a lot of racist rhetoric and legislation, it starts with the Democrats. But historically, whether it's Democrat or not, I wings on the same dragon. It's just about good people. If you're a good person, you're a good person. If you're a shitty person, you're a shitty person. No matter what your political affiliation is, evil doesn't have an address or a political party or an ethnic group.
I just wanted to say I put in the chat a couple links. There was an incident when Trump was leaving the dinner. A woman came running out in front of his motorcade, going after the motorcade. There was a pro-Palestinian protest happening outside while the event was going on, and she was one of the people from the protest. I also put in the chat some of the protesters that were inside the lobby area, you know, that hallway we were talking about. Code Pink. Yeah, so I mean, one of the that also occurs is there's all these other parties that are happening at the same time and then leading into the dinner itself. So that's why there's also so many people in the hallway. They're already in the building at like pre-parties and maybe the AP, different news outlets host different events, and so it's kind of like, imagine a convention center. You know, it's chopped up. There's the big ballroom, but then there's all these smaller rooms where they're having other events. So that also enabled a lot of the people to have access inside the building and these protesters. And then the third thing I put in the chat was the signage after he was leaving calling for death to him as a tyrant.
What's Code Pink?
Code Pink is, oh boy, get me on that subject. It's an organization of very, very left, you know, like a communist left advocates and protesters. It's run by this woman, Malia, I think I'm probably saying her name wrong. Medea, thank you.
Yeah.
And her co-founder Jody, who was married, or I don't know if still married to Roy. I'm so bad with names. It's late. Singham, that's lives in China. It's involved with the Communist Party, so that's where their funding comes from. And they're an extreme political acts group, and you'll often see them. This may sound familiar to you. They hang out in the halls of Congress, and they go after members of Congress, Senate, and try to corner them. And the older lady, like blonde, very, very wormy looking, like mousy, wormy looking. Yeah, that's her.
She attacked Trump
Mousy,
one time.
wormy
Right?
looking, diabolical.
The interesting part is the funding for them is related to this Roy. Is it Singham or Bingham? Who lives in Shanghai, and their fund is the funding behind them, and
they're funded. They're funded by China indirectly, you know, through multiple entities. But I think somebody or some entity in government actually found out that they were being funded directly by China, and you know that's where they're getting their funds. So it's like hats off to China for creating an operation called Code Pink that just screams at military personnel as they walk by. They're almost as bad as the Westboro Baptist fucker.
Oh yeah, I just looked it up. It says New York Times reports that Neville Roy Singham is based in Shanghai and accused of supporting CCP was funding Code Pink. Is that what you're talking about?
yeah, that's exactly who I'm talking about. Yep, and it's under federal investigation now.
Is he American? Neville Roy Singham?
It sounds like a British name, but he's married to this is it Jodie Evans? I can't remember her last name.
Oh, he's married to that old lady?
No, not the old lady. The old lady's the other founder of Code Pink. Jody something. But anyway, you often see them on television. because you'll see them accosting different members of Congress. Or they go into the hearings and they disrupt them. I put a video in the chat of them in the hallway outside the building.
So they were part of this? Allegedly?
No, of the assassination attempt? No, I'm saying that they were trying to explain the temperature of what was happening outside the actual dinner and who has access to it, and there was protests going on. So I put that in.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong. Is it this the 4th or 5th assassination attempt on Trump?
I think this is the 5th.
That's what I thought.
I mean, he's had a couple of other attacks. Like, I mean, there is the English idiot that was going to drive a forklift and he got stopped before it even came to materialization. He was somehow his grand plan was to drive a forklift into the beast. Not sure if that would have worked, but I kid you not. And then there was like some other guy that tried to take a cop's gun. He was arrested before the president was even in the area. So, I mean, he's got like 25, right now he's got like 25 prosecutions where people are locked up for threats on him. And then, I mean, I guess maybe they'll start bringing back the ricin, letters that they used to send to Obama and other members. And I'm waiting for those to break out now.
Wow. Crazy work,
I forgot about the rice letters.
Yep. There was
Was
the
it
rice, and then they had,
anthrax?
what was the other? The anthrax, too.
Anthrax.
Yeah, they had the anthrax, too. Yeah, I was about to say that the anthrax and the ricin letter. They've been doing ricin for a longer time than the anthrax. I think the anthrax just came out with Obama. And then, yeah. It's crazy. Crazy work, man. Crazy fucking work. I mean, I really feel like this motherfucker is, everybody's want to claim he's Epstein this and money hungry this or that. I mean, he's for the money for sure. He's about business. He's a businessman. That's what we voted him in for. But he literally, I believe, I'm convinced that he's about legacy. He gives a fuck more about his name than he does more about, they might talk shit while he's alive, but when you unpack him, God forbid, he dies earlier or anything, but you unpack his legacy, it's hard to indict that man for the shit that they're saying. It's hard to put that on him. I can't see.
I agree with that.
I see how people can be manipulated, but just saying, the shit that they're saying about him, like, I just can't see it. Like, dude, like, he brought trillions of dollars of new investments to America, bro.
If he walks away with his goal of $21 trillion investment, now it'll be a few years before we see that trickle down.
Right.
But if he brought $21 trillion, by the time he leaves, that's literally over half of what our deficit is.
GDP. Yeah, exactly.
That's just he'll go down as the greatest president in our history, giving us a sustainability for another 250 years. Like, multiple administrations will be bankrolling off of that. You can't do that. And he's reshaped the political landscape, and he might bring peace to the Middle East, or at least some sort of stability. He's already made some inroads there. So, I mean, he may actually achieve. He will definitely go down as one of the most prominent presidents in our history, and his name will be long remembered. But I think you're right. He wants a legacy that says he's the best, and he was a great president, and people look back on him with kindness because he's always been about his name and his family, and he wants that. And I just feel bad for Barron because that kid is fucking tall as hell, and I can't imagine being Secret Service and being like trying to guard that poor teenager.
Next, Brad. He's up next. And you know what? As long as the stock market is up, I don't give a fuck what Trump does. Fuck the Epstein files. Let's fucking go.
But here's the thing about the Epsteins. There's not, one, you got to consider the source. Two, there's nothing in there that indicts him on any fucking thing. And then 3, it's like he left him alone and he told the FBI in 2006 to go after him and Ghislaine. And the emails about Trump being all of this, that, and the third didn't come out till 2019. And he was what then at the time? The president. So, of course, you're fucking mad. You're a fucking convicted pedophile. You're still dealing with left and right-wing motherfuckers. And you have all these different connections and resources. Your old buddy is now the president of the United States. You don't like him because he kicked your freaky ass out of his motherfucking place. And you was a part of some goofy ass shit for many years that he didn't want to be a part of anymore. And he let the FBI know, which means you know that he talked about that before he was even the fucking president. So if anything, the collaboration information gathered from files, which most people ain't read no 3 million emails, let alone one, exonerates him nothing. So the obsession with him is just like, when I see shit like that, I automatically start to question the source. Like, you're saying all this shit about this guy, but a lot of things aren't sticking. What are you really after him for? Yeah, what are you really after him for? What's motivating you to want to take him down that much? That's too much effort.
Money is the root of all evil, bro. That's what
the love of money is. Money is a tool. It's also a hell of a character filter. I see money do a lot of good stuff. What's that guy's name on Facebook? Zach something? That does it. He acts like he's poor and shit. He gives people money. No, not Mark Zuckerberg. This is one white guy.
I know who you're talking about.
He's a wealthy guy.
He just walks around like he's homeless and he finds people.
He's super cool. I like watching this shit. His content is dope and it's authentic to me. You know what I'm saying? And he be changing people's lives and shit. He got even the celebrity kids. And the celebrities' kids are following him. Like, that's a good, positive thing, right? You know what I'm saying? So money can do a lot of. No, he goes by Zeke or Zach something. I forget his fucking last name. It's like I can't pronounce his last name like that. Like survival school type shit. I don't fucking know. But he's he's a cool motherfucker though, man. And at the end of the day, that's why it goes back to the point that money is not the root of all evil, it's the love of it. When it becomes your God and you'll do anything for it, that's when it becomes problematic.
You know, I used to think it was money. I no longer, my age, think that it's money. I think it's power. I think money is just a stepping stone to help you get power, but I think what really is truly the evil that we have is power. Because once they get it, they can't go. Look at AOC. She's done nothing for her district. She's brought nothing in terms of creation. She's boosted her portfolio, but she hasn't done anything for the people of that area. She's stomped on jobs. She stomped on investment opportunities there. She cheered on McDonald's, the mayor of New York, and now she's really good at making Instagram speeches, and acting like she's a victim. But she hasn't done it. But she craves that power. She isn't willing to step aside, and she wouldn't bite the hand that was making her the money. She never once. She just sit in at Nancy Pelosi's office and then bent over and said, "Yes, dear Aunt Nancy, I'll take it any way you want to." And once she got her hands on that money, and once she got her hands on, guess what? Congressional seats, and it was able to get her Instagram likes, and she liked influencing, and she liked that little semblance of power. But she can't win a Senate seat.
Just like the chick from Texas that got defeated. What's her name? Jasmine. her goofy ass. I can't claim her, man. Like, listen, I love my black women and every damn thing, but that woman is an imposter. I have yet to see a true honorable. Not to say they don't exist, but I have yet to see a true honorable, clearly like righteous fucking politician. Like, they're worse than drug dealers. There's drug dealers that got more moral compass than most of these motherfuckers. In fact, most of the most egregious crimes and indictments come from these people. Even the brother that killed him and his wife, and while his kids were at home, Virginia and shit. Like, Virginia lieutenant governor just a week ago.
Shocking on Crockett. You're not going to believe I'm saying this, but in some ways, I wish she had won that primary, because the guy that she lost to his politics and his policies are so far left and so disturbing. Tallarico, I don't know, again, if I'm saying his name right, but as nuts as she is, she's not as extreme as the guy that ended up winning that primary. And I never thought I'd be defending Jasmine Crockett. He's pretty bad.
But can you give me a contrast of the difference between their politics?
With the gender affirming stuff, he's Tallarico's like super far left. That's one issue that pops out with him. But I'll try to give you like his main policy. He's like a Beto, only more to the left than Beto O'Rourke was. And
I'm not too familiar, so
Crockett, as a member of Congress, was not a squad member. She definitely. I agree with you on a lot of stuff about her, but she wasn't as extreme as the squad, to my knowledge. And someone can tell me I'm wrong on this, but I don't think she was.
I don't know if you call her a squad, but the fact that she didn't win her election seat, it was gifted to her. And I'll give this, I don't like Al Green's politics, but I can tell you what, visiting Texas, here's something that Jasmine didn't do that Al Green does. There was a problem with pretty shitty apartment buildings around here. A lot of people were complaining about elevators, especially for those 55 and older communities. Most of these happen to be minorities or elderly, poor, impoverished areas. So Al Green showed the fuck up, even outside of his area. He took time out. He left the fucking thing to go down to his people. He showed up. He sat there and said, hey, these ACs have been off for a month. And he's sitting down there having a glass of water with a 90-year-old woman and listening to her complain. He actually listened. Then he got on the phone calls. He called other people. He brought them in. I have a lot of complaints about Al Green's policies and his actions, but when it comes to being there for his constituencies, the motherfucker shows up. You can't take that away from him. There's a respect level, and he showed up. Jasmine never did that for anybody in her district. Never showed up to help absolutely anybody.
Well, when you can manipulate the stocks with your vote and get rich doing that, and really not have to do shit. You have a whole staff that looks over legislation, and you have an agenda that you vote and follow, and you get paid six figures and get all this other shit and fanfare. It's an easy sale. That's why I'm saying some of the most corrupt people I've ever met are politicians. Bankers are second.
Yeah,
the investment pool and the political pool. Oh man, that's just the jacuzzi inside of the hot. That's like the hot tub inside of the pool. Like they're both in the same shit. It's just, you know what I mean? Which one do you feel comfortable in?
Yeah, it's like that girl out of 25th district saying that she took.
My name is James Sean Thomas the 4th, 16th. Sorry, I'm playing with buttons. Am I in a room? Can you hear me? You could hear me?
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. I'm just that guy.
Yeah, but anyway, it's like that congresswoman out of Florida that she just resigned, but she was going to face, they were going to remove her out of Congress, and she's walking around and saying, I never spent $3 million on a yellow diamond ring, and when they do the investigation, she violated the laundry list of ethics, which I find laughable, but because probably all of them done it, but she's got the diamond ring on during one of her speeches and a couple other incidences while she's up at the fucking in DC. And she's like, and they're just like, here's a picture of you wearing the fucking ring.
That's crazy.
It's
AI.
Tallarico, one of the things he said is God is non-binary. He's had some radical stuff about they're saying too radical for Texas. A lot of gun control. I mean, in a state like Texas,
well, he's gonna lose
things like that.
Being shit like that, he's gonna lose.
Yeah.
It's probably good that he keeps in, because Jasmine seems like she would have been more palatable than he would have been. But that's a good thing, here's the thing, guys. We're not going to pretend that America doesn't have blood on their hands and doesn't exist. It is what it is. At the end of the day, I'm a fucking American. human race have to come together. I can see it in our lifetime. There will be events that will force inflection points to where it's not going to be about black and white. It's not going to be about countries. It's going to be about the have and have-nots. And even then, it should be something to where I would like to see, where it doesn't matter as long as you're a fucking human being and you're a good person, like you're cool. But it's not. The world doesn't work that way yet, right? It's just that this shit is so divisive, and at the same time, I'm on this side of the fence. Regardless of anywhere I go in the world, I'm cool to have my blue passport, but also know that my house is fucked up too. I'm not gonna sit here and shine the finger at anybody else, knowing that there's three pointing back at me. But I'm gonna rather be on this side of the fence than the other. I don't want to live in China and be up under their rule political system. I believe in America, it is racism. It is some bullshit out there. In South America, it's fucking beautiful, and I feel safer there. But at the same time, I don't have the same freedoms or the same infrastructure as I would in America. I see from a business opportunity or a business position that if America can get their house in order, right, internally, we would be better positioned to lead. And I believe, in my opinion, that that's what Trump wants to do. Whether he does it or not, or whatever the case, however anybody else frames it, I think that he literally probably shares some of the same things. But America should lead that cause. Who else better, right? It's just, time will tell. Time will tell. And I'm not one of those motherfuckers that want to see, America's going to lose this war with Iran. I don't want to fucking see that. I'm in the house. Why would I want it to burn down?
I mean, the American Empire is fairly strong. I mean, we get a lot of attacks, and it's weird. Everyone tries to emulate being America. But they also stand there with their hands outstretched. They're like, yes, give me. When you actually start looking at countries and looking at it, like all this stuff, you're just like, wow, we really do pay for the world. We do subsidize literally the world and then protect it at the same time. So it's kind of a crux. Everybody hates you when you're on top, and they don't. And I always say this: America has, right. But America has no true allies. We don't have any friends. We'll have alliances based on convenience and monetary value. And as long as we keep doing what we do, we'll still have those, and we'll stay in top. And then eventually another empire will come, but we'll all be dust in the wind and, be forgotten about.
You know what, though? I agree with you. And there's a paradox to that, though. Like what you just said, I'll go to another country and they'll shit on Americans, but love us at the same time, right? Where literally some of the same people that'll be on my dick in South America because I'm black and American will try and shine on me in America. So if they come to America and they're white or white looking, they'll leverage that, right? Or they'll literally well, black Americans, blah 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 blah. But when I'm in your country, you want to charge me 4 times as much. You want to invite me everywhere. I'm a celebrity there, right? When you come to there, you think that you're aligned with this, and they don't fucking like you. Like I had to tell them, say you're less than black people in America just because you got this skin. As soon as you start talking that quality shit, that's you know what I'm saying? You see how your people being treated on the news, right? So it's just but that's something that America has to get rid of. And I'll tell you this, Matt. If America deals with the issue of race for real, once and for all, then they'll be in a real moral position to lead. That's all you have to do. You do that, it literally would change the world.
How so?
Well, it's the moral compass. So there's this always, it boils down to morals, moralities, what's ethics, who should lead, why. It kind of deals with that once and for all. But then the other side of it too, globally, it unlocks a whole new level of leadership, but investment. culturally, but I mean that also financially too. You just talk numbers. Racism has cost America a lot of money. And if you undo that or reinvest into your people, you can go a lot further, a lot quicker, with more influence. There's a pathway to everything. But the thing that we don't want to let go of, the thing that's hardest to debate and deal with, is that topic right there, that and religion. Go ahead,
Cypher, is there a country in the world that doesn't?
I would say there probably is, but when you think about the top ones, I believe that most of them do.
I don't think it exists anywhere in the world, Cypher. But we can strive for a more better union.
That's a good way to put that. I mean, if you've been to Vanuatu, there's different places on the planet that don't understand the concept of racism. But is it far and few in between? Agreed. I mean, the Chinese, the Cambodia, Thailand, there's a whole ethnic conflict there in the same way in fucking Africa. Right now, you got South Africa beefing with Nigerians and Ghanaians. Right? You have Russia and fucking Ukraine beefing. They talk the damn near same language, look the goddamn same, and they're beefing. But there's some looks when I honestly believe that all of this stuff is leading up to different events, and there's going to be something else that's going to happen that's going to make people question a lot of different things, and they're going to have to, it might be like the 9/11 event. I never saw that many people come together like that for a sustained period of time. I think the next thing after that was maybe COVID, from a global glance, right? When 9/11 happened, I saw all people coming together to pull people out of the rubble. United America, this, that, and the third. It was for a good, strong 18 months. I was riding that wave. I was like, oh, yeah, this is bullshit. But then, certain things started to come out, but those events happened, and it changed the world, literally, right? So there's something else that's going to happen. I don't know exactly what it is, but I hope that it's a choice that we make versus something that happens to us that we have to climb up out of. If that makes sense.
Yes, for 9/11, people came together, but the political parties were still divided. Because right after it, the Democrats, and they shut up about this very quickly. They said, "Oh, it's our fault that 9/11 happened," and then they looked around and saw the rest of the country going, "What the hell are you talking about?" And then they shut up about it. But eventually that narrative came out. If we had to interfere in the Middle East, then we wouldn't have had these problems. Narrative. Now, I don't want to debate that whole issue, but yes, I agree. Like when you look at the people on the ground and the support that the actual citizens of this country felt towards each other after 9/11. There was a sense that, we got attacked and we're coming together and we will, we're gonna do something about this. But politically, the Democrats went underground for a while, but they never stopped being Democrats. And the difference and this is conjecture on my part, but when you look at from the 1930s to the 1940s, the leftists, the neoliberals hadn't formed yet, and they were still, actually, never mind that, because I'm realizing then around, never mind that whole thread. I was sort of thinking off the top of my head, but the two political, we'll just say the two political parties were more closely aligned, I think, during World War II. And certainly you had dissent, but it somehow seems different. I could be wrong on that last point, but
Well, I think though, I get what you're saying, Alan, and I appreciate your perspective on that, but I really think that the original sin of America was causing the divide. It's not a political party, right? It's not the Republican and Democrat. It's literally about good and evil. It's really about the both parties haven't served this country very well. They both have flaws. They both have a lot of things that combined together has oppressed their own people and other people around the world. That's the truth. There's a legitimacy in impacting their authority because they gotta remain on top, right? So yeah, the sins of the father is what they are. The karma that you carry now is you bear the reputation of those sins. You can't dismiss them. At the same time, it should not be the reason why you fail. It shouldn't be for the person in that position. I wouldn't be like, look, that was my granddad that did that shit. I might have some of his ways and everything else, but I'm not on that shit. I don't want you getting mad at me neither. Yes, I understand that. So then it's up to you to fix it. What are you going to do about it? Well, I don't want to do about it. That's the problem. So you can't say that I'm going to be the moral authority of the world, and you carry this embedded hypocrisy that discredits your defense, so that those that indict you have a legitimacy to it, right? So you can then understand the aggression. To detach from that is to not be morally accountable.
Yeah, we've addressed those. Yeah, Cypher, you and I disagree. We addressed
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
I can still appreciate what you said, even though we don't agree on. I do believe that the government. Hold on, before you cut me off. I do believe that the government did something with 9/11. There's evidence that suggests that. I do believe that fucking COVID shit happened with China, America, and a whole bunch of other shit. You know what I'm saying? I feel that way about that. But it doesn't dismiss the impact. The reason why the world has a problem with American authority, though, is legitimate to a degree. Even though America could be right about their approach to certain shit, but if you don't have your own house fixed and you're not a moral leader of any goddamn thing. I mean, let's just be real. We are protecting our interests, and yes, we do look out for a lot of countries, right? We do have influence. We did do some things for countries that we knew that were fucked up. We did some egregious things. We can't ignore that, Alan. Only thing I am saying, the focal point of what I'm saying is that doesn't mean that you don't have a right to self-determination yourself. You have a job to do to stay on top, right? We have a job to do. I'm an American, a real American, sent by blood and by work. And by every means and stretch of imagination, I'm a real fucking American. But I can't sit here and say that the house that I come from ain't got blood on the walls. Doesn't mean I want you to come and burn it down.
I appreciate the degree to which you look at it. The problem is, from my viewpoint, is the obsession with the sin, to use your term. I mean, this is a country that has sinned, but is also obsessed with correcting that sin, and has done huge things, not only for its own citizens, but huge things for other countries. You say, well, they've done some things for other countries. No, they multiple times more than any other country. Now, the fact that we have gained from it is irrelevant, and it's irrelevant because it's irrelevant because everybody gains, and there's lots of issues that we.
What's irrelevant though? I missed that part, brother.
Okay, I couldn't find the words. There's lots of countries with lots of issues that we could have gained from, and yet we chose whatever the particular ones we happen to choose. Right now, we could go to China and say, well, we don't like the way you're treating your Muslim population, and we're going to go to war over it. And we would gain a lot financially, but we're not. And that's okay, But
when you say the obsession of the sin, what do you mean by that? Can you go in on that?
Well, let me the fact that we claim that we don't have the right to have any kind of moral authority because of the sins of our past.
Why? Explain that. Explain your thinking.
Those sins. Why? Well, let's start with number one. The sins like what we did in other countries. Okay? Like, when I was in college and after college, it was all about what we did in South America. Well, the Soviet Union was fucking with South America. We fucked that. Who would you rather have taken over your country? The Soviet Union or the United States? So to say, the left portrayed that as this great sin of America. Now, I've heard those answers.
Alan, can I give you a contrast to that really quickly? You mind if I give you a contrast? Just want a conversation too. I want to hear you. You mind? Okay, gotcha.
That was I'm done. That was considered a stain upon the moral authority.
Mm-hmm. And you know how they won that war was poisoning their own citizens and criminalizing them and fucking up generations of people who are again coming out of other traumatic issues like the funds from trafficking cocaine to your own urban neighborhoods and creating laws to lock up those people that makes more money, like actions of oppression on certain groups of people to win that war and influence. There was a moral compass.
The Iran-Contra scandal was the determinant factor in that war.
Well, no. Hear me out though. The funds from it, the proceeds that kept the engine running, was seeded from that. And that directly fucked up
it wasn't. It wasn't seeded from that though.
Where did the funds come from?
No, the Iran-Contra scandal started when Congress, that whole thing you're talking about, using cocaine to fund the war against the Contras, started after Congress cut off funds.
Right. So yeah. What does that have to do with my point?
That didn't seed the war. The war.
It was already going. I get what you're saying. Correction.
Yeah.
I'll agree with that. But still, it kept the engine going. Is what I said too. It kept kept that going. So what I'm saying is that is an egregious fucking that right there is you should give reparations for that alone. And I'm not begging for reparations. I'm not one of the motherfuckers that be like, I need reparations. I think it's owed and all that other stuff. I think it's legit and it's definitely a debt that's owed. But we can go with just that right there. Like that is something where a country should be like, I did fuck up about 50 years or 40 years plus of a whole generation, like people a whole demographic of people, locked them up. I created laws behind it. I destabilized neighborhoods, broke up families, and made money off of the abortions and the foster children and sex trafficked them. And it's all kinds of nefarious shit that's involved in that, right? And it's never dealt with the sins. So, no, you are not a legit moral authority on anything. You're just in the position of power. And because you're in a position of power, of course, you want to protect that position, right? Because, like Matt said earlier, they don't like you when you're on top. They hate you when you're on top, and they don't respect you at the bottom.
Yeah, but does the fact that they funded that war through cocaine and that it fucked up people in this country, does that change the moral position in the war in South America? That doesn't change the fact. No, it doesn't.
It literally does change it, because now those countries are they're benefiting. A lot of their export is that, and they've been dependent on that for 40 years, and now you want to cut it off. You should have never started.
I'm talking about the issue of American influence versus Soviet influence.
But the Soviets weren't trafficking drugs.
No, the Soviets just wanted to completely, oppress the people of those countries.
In what way?
Which is worse? Getting people addicted on drugs or completely oppressing them.
Well, give me an example of the policies the Soviets were trying to enact.
Well, would you want to live in the Soviet Union in the 1960s?
Educate me about it. I was born in 81.
Well, if you don't understand what communism is about.
I do understand it. I want to understand it from your frame point. I understand what it is. I just want to understand from your point.
I'm talking about it from an objective viewpoint.
Okay, me too. So I want to understand yours.
Okay, communism is bad.
Why?
Gulags.
Why?
Solzhenitsyn, read Solzhenitsyn.
Yeah, thank you, Michaela.
By the way, I should remind you, I'm an American, and I prefer what I got set up for myself right now. But I just want to understand your point, so I'm challenging you by asking, why do you feel like it's bad?
You would have nothing set up for yourself. Let's start with that.
You can be an entrepreneur in communism, right?
No.
Oh, you can't have a private industry that's backed by the government?
No.
Like being a government contractor?
It depends. If you're in China,
you can't do that in communism?
If you're in China, you can do that.
Maybe
That's like
it's
open market communism. It's a little different.
Maybe less than 1% of the population was able to engage in those activities, but that's because you were the party elite. That's it.
But everybody below a certain tier gets paid the same, pretty much, right?
Nothing. Yes.
Let me ask you this: if China is the second wealthiest country in the world, right?
China's not the Soviet Union.
Yeah, okay. Cypher, let me put it another way. Okay, because when I was a kid, okay, one of the ways they got us was they would say, eat your food, people are starving in China. And we used to laugh. What they were referring to was, I forget the year, but I believe it was Mao Zedong decided that China was going to have the Great Leap Forward. So we forced all the farmers to change their farming equipment and modernize them to manufacturing equipment. They stopped making food. As a result, they stopped growing food. And within 5 years, 20 million people died. And that happened twice in China. That's communism. So we can start there and work our way down.
But what do you call America? America's a what?
A capitalist system of,
or I thought it was a republic.
Well, the Constitution. We're talking about multiple things here. We're talking about the type of governance it has, and we're talking about its financial system. In communism, they are both tied together.
I never knew of another country that sold their own citizens their death row.
Say that again?
I never knew of a country that sold their citizens drugs.
You know, it's been such a long time. Okay? But
it's still going on, sir.
Well, look, you know, it's funny. I was just watching Dave Chappelle talking about the opioid epidemic and his perspective on it. And I love Dave Chappelle. But when I hear about when he compares the opioid epidemic, which affected mostly white people, and the crack cocaine epidemic, which affected mostly black people, when you go to your doctor and your doctor prescribes a drug, you assume the doctor, you're going to a doctor which you assume has training and is licensed and is sanctioned by the government. If you go to some punk on a street corner and buy a drug from him and you don't understand that it's illegal and it's bad for you, that's on you. I don't care how that drug ended up on that street.
Same way with the crisis in the white community with overdoses from what's this shit called? Fentanyl.
Fentanyl? No. Well, the issue with fentanyl is that it's put in drugs and people don't know it. Now, if
but people buy it on the streets illegally and they know it.
Now look, if they're taking fentanyl and
methamphetamines, ketamine, ice.
You
that's
know
a very big problem. It's killing tens of thousands of people a year.
Yeah. You know what, Cypher? I give you that point 100%. 100%. If you're going and going and buying fentanyl directly on the street, yeah, it's on you. It's on you.
Yeah.
But in my example, it was the comparison between the opioids, which at the time that it happened, it was people who were getting prescriptions, from their doctors, getting hooked. And now then, if you're going, like, I remember there was like some town, I forget the state, there were like 300 people in the town, yet they were writing $3 million in opioid prescriptions per year out of one drugstore. That's on you. That's on you, for doing it.
I mean, know that in 2019, summer 2019, J.P. Morgan boat got caught with 20,000 metric tons of cocaine. Do you think that they were going to a suburban neighborhood or an urban neighborhood?
Well, that's a good
2019.
question. Because I seem to remember seeing this commercial, which was, mostly for white people. It's like they said it was like, 20% of, and the numbers I'm saying aren't accurate, but it was like 20% of drug use is in the inner cities. Where do you think the other 80% happens? And it's some white kid on a bike, like riding it's like he buys some drugs and it takes place in a suburban neighborhood, you know. So, yeah, I think by the numbers, you know, I'd be curious to see what that is, you know. But I mean, look, we're getting. Say that again.
I was saying the sins of the father are still within the son. It never went anywhere. So that's when you said the obsession with it. The reason why I went through that line of question was to say that it never went anywhere. It's still here. It's part of the fuckery. The reason why America is not as great as it could be. It's never been as great as it could be. It's because that original sin has never been addressed.
Yeah, I don't agree with that.
Cypher, who's forcing anybody to buy those drugs?
Forcing?
Yeah, I mean, look.
You said forcing?
Cypher.
Oh no, it's called. I mean, here's the thing. You're right. Nobody is forcing. There is accountability on the other side of this. Let's be honest. Here's the thing: when you create the conditions, you can't blame the byproduct of those conditions for the environment you set. It's to be expected. It was designed that way. It was designed with the intent of the output that you see. So it would be clinically, mentally unwell of a person to judge that which they create.
It's a physician's recommendation.
Yeah, I mean, Cypher, look, you know, I don't disagree with that. I mean, you know, there certainly were many things done. And there certainly were many government policies that certainly affected various communities and had negative impacts on them.
But none like ours. We're literally the only people in the world that any of these combinations of things have happened for such a period of time, and we never took over the country. We never was super violent in our reactions. You had some resistance, for sure, but you really ultimately had the same people going to war for you and winning every war. Without us, you would have lost every war. Without us, you wouldn't have a country. Without us, you wouldn't have modern civilization. But that right there, that level of hypocrisy is what needs to be addressed. Then you can literally go out and validate your authority from a moral compass. Otherwise, you could just say, hey, I took this shit over and I don't want you to have it because I want to hold on to power.
Yeah, I think, Cypher, with all respect, I think you're over inflating the African Americans' importance in the development of this country, and you're overinflating the oppression to which African Americans have been subjected to in this country. Because I'm sure that the Irish in England would completely disagree.
Name a people that have gone through worse than.
Is the worst in the world.
Name a people that have gone through worse.
I just named one.
Who?
I just named one.
Who?
The Irish.
Okay.
Okay, what happened with the Irish?
2 million died. They've never recovered their population.
Is Ireland still a country today?
Yeah, but half of the people had to leave.
Does Ireland have a seat at the United Nations?
Jeez, I don't know. But
don't they have their same language? They got their own language.
Yeah.
No, they don't. Hardly anybody speaks it.
1/3 of.
And 2 million of them died. Did their government sell them drugs?
No, they starved them.
Is it still going on today?
No, and I don't think what you're talking about is going on today.
What part?
No, Cypher. You can go back to Nigeria and speak the language of your.
That's not where I'm from, sir.
Yeah, well, I got bad news for you. All Africans come from Africa. So you want to go
Interesting.
back?
Who was here when Columbus got here, sir? Who was here?
There's plenty of places. I don't know where you're from. Within the last 4 or 5 generations.
Since not even 4 or 5 generations. Since the 1700s, my people, the European side, has been here, and they're Irish. And then my indigenous side, who's also in my PTRs if you thumb through them, that older lady is my mother's great grandmother. My mother's 73 as of last week. God bless her. But that's her great grandmother, and she's pure blooded. And we have Blackfoot, Sioux, Seminole, Choctaw in our family, going back generations and generations.
And you can't learn.
And they were reclassified. Some of them were reclassified as Negro.
Okay, right? But you can't speak those.
But my thing is that none of that makes sense. Ireland is still a country. It's actually a better country to live in economically than America because their average income is $76,000 a year on a 4-day work week. Like I tell all the foreigners, if you want to go anywhere and be great, fucking go to Ireland. Like that's some great shit over there. And there's Black Irish that's been over there, like that's been up there for generations and generations. I'm part of it.
Right? Yeah, it's pretty expensive these days.
But Ireland, there's no other people that been.
Aren't they
what we've been through.
over there towards
yeah, they are there too. But here's the point. Here's the point that I'm making, guys, and I want to make this very clear to you guys. You're probably hearing me for the first time, but I want you to be very clear about this stuff. Yeah, I mean, I know we go back a couple of years, brother, a few years.
Yeah.
But here's the point. Here's the point, though. I'm saying me saying that is not a victim thing. I don't want you to think like I'm holding on to that or that is something that should be acknowledged and dealt with. I'm not denying that. But what my greater point is the value, Alan, that you say I'm overinflating. You would not have the stoplight, central air, heating, cooling, GPS, fucking blood transfusions, heart transplants, a clock, the light bulbs, fucking the internet, like a lot of things that you do and don't know about our contributions, even the 50,000 plus modern patents that we actually got credit for, not including the ones that were stolen from us because we didn't have the ability to patent. Not the militia, not even to mention the 5,000 man militia and the Revolutionary War, and the fact that Crispus Attucks is a black man. And John Hancock, not John Hancock, but the other guy who was the interim president before Washington was a black Moor. You know what I'm saying? Like without us, brother, like you say I overinflated. I was being very humble in saying it that way. And that being the same, but at the same time, Alan, that's what makes America fucking great. Is that even though that this happened to these people, we still managed to be the 8th richest people on the planet just by way of spending. Our own shit, the pain that we went through is a catalyst for success, and it speaks volumes to the God that we serve.
Yeah, Cypher.
Because only we could do that,
when
right?
You look at every one of
and we're Americans, though. That's what makes y'all look
all
good, too.
Okay, I'm sorry. When you look at those actual claims and the people they speak about, they've all been debunked. If they didn't invent them,
name one.
Like, let me think about this one. Like you look at the light bulb. No, the guy who they credit with the light bulb, when you look at his patent, it was an improvement on the manufacturing process to manufacture filaments and it's like 20 years after Edison invented it, or it's an improvement on some other process. They were not the creators of it. Now you want to know? They go.
What are you sourcing this from?
Where am I getting?
Like I think you're pulling that out your ass.
Look up the patents, and that's what you find. Now
I have a few of them.
Yeah. Now, when you look at the list, you come up. The ice cream scoops where there's like a gear and you do it. that they invented. That's one. The other one is the idea.
What about the mask, sir? What about the mask?
The other one.
What about the stoplight?
Refrigerated trucks.
What about the airplane?
The airplane. Oh, so it wasn't the.
What about the car?
Yeah.
Right, Pat?
Yeah. No, I'm sorry.
Wow. Interesting.
Yeah.
But you know what though? It's interesting though. I'm talking about the good and the things that we've done that made America great.
Yeah,
and you're trying to shoot it down. Hold on. Like, look, pay attention to this. Let me finish my sentence, and I'll go back on mute.
Sure.
You literally are shooting down everything that I'm saying that makes us great, but then you want to be the moral authority of the free world, and you tour it. Like, what is that? What are you doing?
Because the issue is
we're both Americans, right?
Yes. So yes, and as an American,
you have to debunk my shit, huh?
And appreciate the contribution.
It doesn't sound like you're trying to downplay it.
Well, I can appreciate that.
But it sounds like you're trying to downplay it, though. If you appreciate it, why are you downplaying it?
Of all of that is you owe us, therefore you have to pay us back.
No, that's the moral thing to do.
Yeah, we've paid you back $11 trillion. And when the Jews in Germany got 20, excuse me,
$11 trillion? What $11 trillion? What do you mean?
I think it's 20 billion.
Who paid Black Americans $11 trillion?
Billions. Yeah. When?
Hey, not too much
when?
on the Jews, guys.
When? When you look at the war on poverty and the civil rights programs, which
$11 trillion is what you said.
When you look at, yes, they went to both white and black poors and white and black people. And when you look at the proportions of how much money went to African Americans, and remember when both those bills were signed, okay, Johnson was surrounded by the black leaders of the time. The number you come up with.
Do you remember what Johnson said about black leaders and black people?
$11 trillion.
$11 trillion. Man, listen.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what, Alan, you don't have to defend it, brother, because the more you do, the more you discredit yourself, brother.
Here's the final point. I'm interested in solutions that actually work. And now
we're talking about it and you get uncomfortable.
No, I'm not uncomfortable at all. We're 60 years later, and according to the Southern Poverty Law Center, racism is still as rampant as ever. So clearly, and we start looking at the numbers of the disparities between whites and blacks when it comes to crime, when it comes to birth rates, when it comes to marriage rates, on and on and on. If we look at those numbers, we've spent $11 trillion, and those problems aren't solved. I'm not interested in spending any more money on those issues, number one. And number two, I think the time of giving the importance to 13% of the population and saying that their narrative needs to be the narrative of America is over. Because I've lived through.
How can you even shut that off? Like, how can you validate that? Like, hold on, slow down. We're just having a conversation. So if you're saying that my people, 13% of the population, which we're far bigger than that, but 13% is what you call us, a number, right? Should that our narrative, which is actual literal history documented by people that look like you, isn't a narrative that everybody should adhere? If it's the truth, are you saying that people should believe a lie to uphold some kind of power, You know what I'm saying? Some kind of resolution for power and authority. Like, is that what you're saying?
No, I'm saying even if you accept it as the truth, the idea that sin, and I'll even use that word, needs to be addressed on and on and on and on.
Oh, no. Nobody's saying that this is a perpetual thing.
Yeah,
like,
well,
so there's a real thing. Like Alan, I think you missed the benefit of what that redress would look like. Like, people would stimulate the economy, the global economy. That's fine, Alan.
Yeah,
But
look.
let me jump in here because I'll let you go for a while. But literally, like, if you did that with Black Americans today, do you understand how many jobs you would create, how much new innovation you would create, how you could say you actually addressed the issue and repaired those people, and it would greatly stimulate the economy overnight because motherfuckers would just go out and spend. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying that you would release it to money alone, because there's a lot of other things that money can do, like tax-free to 33, tax-free again, 66 till death, free education for the colleges that they not apply for, but they qualify for. If you qualify to get in that college, you go for free, right? And then there's some money there, right? There's some mental health primarily. Like, you got to start with that, mental health, right? If you start, the crime goes down, education, innovation goes up, it stimulates the global economy, and you dealt with the moral issue through a financial repair. They automatically came back. It's a reimbursement. We're an investment vehicle.
Yeah.
We stimulate whole economies. We drive markets. Our influence in every area of sports, tech, science, media, entertainment, all of the above. It stimulates the world. And guess what? We're interwoven together. You just got a problem with dealing with the fuck shit your ancestors and parents
did. I just want to shout out
to
LeBron James Sr. and LeBron James Jr. for carrying the Lakers past the Houston Rockets. We have a 41-year-old grown man and his son, who's 21 years old, on the same court during a playoff game in the NBA playoffs. Let's fucking
First time ever. And he generates billions and trillions of dollars and just influence globally. So I'm just saying, bro,
money for Cleveland, Ohio, which is almost fucking impossible.
I'm from the O, not too much on the O. I'm from that bitch. Not from Cleveland. I'm from Ohio. Shout out. Yeah. You know, 08.
Yes, I know.
Yeah, well,
if you could bring $1 to fucking Cleveland, Akron, Youngstown, you're a fucking legend. LeBron brought a few of those.
Yeah,
that was crazy.
He brought the first ring. He brought the Cavs ring. He brought that Cavs ring there.
That shouldn't even be a real sentence that came out of anyone's mouth, but that's a fact. Unfortunately, I'm not a Cavs.
You know what's also a fact? Larry Bird beat Michael Jordan 6 times in the playoffs. So we got
what, man? Alan, are you a fucking covert racist or what? What the fuck? He is a fucking hater. Larry Bird is one of my guys, though. Don't get it twisted. That's guy.
Yeah, I know.
You know what I'm saying?
Once you went to basketball, all that's all right.
Alan is an asshole. He got to throw the white man in there. You have been at the game, motherfucker.
Larry Bird, he hates you.
Right. He's just wild, man. Nah, man. Alan's my guy, though. Don't get it twisted. It's been a minute since we had these healthy debates.
You never saw Bird crying on the floor because he got fouled. I'm sorry.
He wasn't a good actor.
You know what, Cypher? Maybe we should just end the conversation there. We can keep going back and forth, but
man. But all I'm saying is at the end of the day, it does go back to what I said earlier about Trump. Yeah. He is the solution. I think that Trump's existence as a president is a solution to this because it highlights both sides of the coin. On one side, I believe that fundamentally he's right about a lot of his global politics. I am in alignment with. I understand it. But hold on, let me finish the sentence, brother.
Sorry,
but the other side of it, though, it just highlights the undergird of what everybody else is complaining about, and that's why I said it serves as a utility pocket or pocket knife, because he has many different vertical sides to it, right? And it can cut either way.
Yeah,
I can see that shit. But your argument though, Alan, is that you don't want to deal with that though, and that's where we disagree.
Alan, let me ask you something real quick. Alan, did you see Zoran Mamdani's statement about the Armenian genocide yesterday? And if so, what are your thoughts? I need to know right now.
I think every year that there are certain politicians who come out and say, yes, I support the Armenian genocide, and I'm sick and tired of hearing it from politicians. They're pandering to the Armenian population, and when the fact is, first of all, no one in the Middle East cares about what some mayor of New York has to say about it. And second of all, the United States has never lifted a finger when it actually needed to do anything for the country of Armenia. So it is exactly what it is. It's pandering and nothing more.
But do you think he's pandering to who? The Armenians?
Yeah. That's
probably
that's all.
right?
That's all.
There's probably more Turks in New York City.
Probably, I don't know. I'd have to look at that. What does he win?
But what does he win out of that? Because Mayor Adams was deep
and
Turks.
And when it comes to that issue, some land on the side of Turkey, some land on the side of Armenia. It's that's what it is. Yeah. But they get a certain amount of votes because they will make that statement, and then some Armenians will, he understands us, he supports us, we gotta vote for him.
I just thought his statement was very deep about Armenia. Never heard that of an American thought.
No, well, maybe you're paying attention to me more so because he's got some more notoriety. So the fact that he said it, he got, people notice more. But hell, I've heard that before. I give more credit to Kanye West when he went to Armenia and making people aware of that more than anyone else.
Get a concert.
Yeah. I mean, the fact that he's there with Kim Kardashian, and now all his fans who've never heard. First of all, they've never heard of Armenia. They might not have even known that she was, half Armenian place. And now he's giving a concert, and they went to the memorial.
Do you give him credit for his hit or song? Just a question. Like, all of his fans who maybe did not know who it was, possibly, and now they sing Hell Hitler.
Kanye?
Yeah, you gotta remember that.
He apologized, bro.
Well, I'm just wondering. I just wanted to see what he thought about that, since, we give him credit for...
We thought that the beat was hard as fuck, but, we know Kanye has mental health issues, bipolar, so we give grace, as we would want people to give grace to us, so. Kanye, as a rap artist, was the best live performance I've ever been to of any rap artist in my whole life. Okay. Do you understand?
How many performances have you seen?
I've seen him once at the LA Coliseum.
Talking about in whole.
I've seen.
How many performances have you seen? Music-wise.
Good question. I've seen dozens of rap performances, who've all been horrific, and singing every other lyric out of their song, not giving a fuck, very lazy performances. I didn't do that. He gave the people what they wanted, man.
You seen Ice Cube perform? Because he was the best I've ever seen.
I have not. I'll be honest. I'm a little younger though. I'm a little bit younger. Go Hero. I'm a little bit younger. Be real.
This is an ignorant question from a woman who's lived through the 60s and 70s. And what do you think of black music being taken over by rap? Do you think there was any kind of conspiracy there from the music business? If you're going to talk about...
That's a deep question because, the popular music and the hip-hop genre is not necessarily the most positive, right? It's usually the rappers who get signed to certain labels and contracts are getting signed to promote degeneracy, murder, polygamy, all sorts of extramarital affairs, violence. And I think that's more about the music industry rather than anything to do with black culture, because it's a predatory ass industry.
Yeah, it's not. My nephew is in the music, is a musician, been involved, and he has no truck with it. He's gone on his own, but I used to like black music, but I'm old.
Black music. What the
Well,
fuck is black music?
I think you're pretty young. I think, Cypher, how old are you? Like in your 30s or something?
No, I'm 45.
45, really?
Yeah, and I produce music for people in the music industry.
You produce music? So
yeah, I did for Busy Bone, Jada Kiss, all of that shit since the 90s, the 2000s. I've been on tour with Janet Jackson and Genuine. I've met Jay-Z a couple of times, but I don't know him. But Cameron, Diplomat Records, we've had the same managements
and not
things like that. That's
maybe
what
like
we mean
say
by
it
black
busts the
music,
rhymes, but the real shit you get when you bust out my rhymes.
But what do you mean
by
black
the
music?
fact that
Let me ask Michaela, are you referring to like 70s R&B?
Yeah, 70s, 80s. I mean, when did rap take over? 90s?
70s.
70s?
Started in the 70s.
I think it was later.
73 to 78.
No, really?
Yeah. There's actually, my father had an album called Rap, and that's back in 1969.
Yeah, well, I guess I did like the R&B. I mean, that's
but you realize that the music, you do realize that the artists are expressing their perspective of life, right? And you guys have created an environment that produced this.
Yeah, if you find a rapper from the south side of Chicago, he's not going to be rapping about, country music and, oh my God, I just took the fucking kids to school. He's fighting for his life every day.
Yeah. I think maybe what Alan and I have in common is that we're older. And we've heard this kind of, we've known about what's happened to the black culture and black people for so long. We're waiting for, and we saw things getting better. And then, to be honest, Obama came in and sort of reignited. Here we thought, oh, great, we're really improving. We've got a black president. And then it just like reignited for the younger people stuff whether they had never heard of or something. They didn't know about their history. So now they're focusing on the tragic history and not realizing how much things have improved. But one thing I do...
How old are you again? How old are you?
75. I'm 75.
My father would have been 76. 77.
You think the three
my mother just turned 73. Do you know that they grew up in southern Texas?
Your father?
Are you familiar with the Great Migration?
Yeah. From the
What
south
do you
to
know
the
about?
north?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
From what
My
years?
sister-in-law is black. She went from the south to Chicago.
Boom. And my people went to Ohio from Texas.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Now,
Yeah.
that right there alone for thousands and tens of thousands of people to migrate out of the South from early 1900 through 1970s, right? What the fuck kind of environment were they living in to where that had to happen?
Terrible, and they got out of it.
And they expressed themselves through music, and things continue to happen. Breaking up the families, busing, civil rights.
Yeah, the
You killed their leaders. You killed their leaders. The residual and rippling effects, it perpetuated all of this. And then you exploited it and made billions and trillions of dollars off of it and then blame what you don't like. I have to sometimes be humble too because I come from what you would call the old school. And I've made beats. I got shit on YouTube. I was in the streets for real and lost that opportunity. And I've been in business for 23 years. But at the same time, like that experience for me back then, I seen the change. So I have to, when I run into little brothers sagging and shit, I don't come into my elders. Now, certain shit I just can't get with. Like, yeah, I mean, get out of the way. You know what I'm saying? Get out the way with that. But I tell them about the sagging pants because my generation was the ones that put it forward, right? And I asked them, I said, I'm like, you ever been to prison? They're like, no, gee. I'm like, look, and on the yard, that means you're advertising your ass, right? And then the second thing, if you had to run from the police or an adversary, you're not going to get very far. And if you have to fight, probably get your ass beat because you got to keep putting your pants up. So I apologize to whoever ill-advised you, young brother. It's not to your advantage to have your pants sagged. Men wear belts, okay? And I always get a good feedback. Now, that's my responsibility as a young black man. Right, because I can't blame them and think that the environment that we created with motherfuckers is dying over starter jackets, Jordans, video games, basketball games, the shit that was perpetuated. I can't think for a moment that they should be better based off of the environments that some of them were raised. Now, don't mistake this because not all black people come from the ghetto, the hood, any goddamn thing. Most of us are very successful, productive citizens. We contribute greatly to the production and GDP of this country. But they're like every other race or ethnic group have their own degenerate societies. Ours was manufactured. It was never in our nature to be who we've been. Some of us didn't come from
that's
Africa.
what I want
Some
to
of us
ask.
were bred and born in America on sex farms.
This is what I want to ask about. I mean, what I've heard is that the black family was pretty together in the 50s, you know.
50s, 60s, 70s, 80s.
Manufactured to destroy the family? Black family?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Think about it. So,
but it happened
there's
also to the whites, too, you know, because the sexual revolution, that's what was the 60s.
You guys took part in it. See, you're past the poor whites and the poor blacks. They literally rock together too. Like if you heard the term redneck, it came from the 1920s, where the coal miners were fighting against the corporations that sent their private militia to go after them in West Virginia. They had a shootout, and the way that you knew who was on your side is that the white boys would have the red scarves, handkerchiefs around their necks, and it was black and white people dying side by side. That's why West Virginia to this day is still one of the most culturally racist as fuck still, but it's interbred like a motherfucker. Like most people are mixed, right? So our stories are intertwined. It's just that the problem that most Europeans, Americans have is that they don't like to deal with the issue of race because of the way they were raised and how they benefited from it. Whether we was in the same boat or not.
This is the deal I've seen in my lifetime. The racial relations just improved so much, and for you to keep focusing on that and keep saying, "Oh, I mean, it was getting better and better year by year."
When was it better though? When though? That's what I'm asking. That's what I'm trying to ask. When? Because I had.
Well, from when I was a child, I know that the racism, you know, because my family, we didn't live lived in an area where there were blacks, and I know the attitudes of my family was they just didn't know anything about blacks, and they had prejudice, you know. But then my mother worked for the government, and then she worked with a lot of blacks, and I could see that easing up, and I could just see over the years things getting better with white attitudes towards blacks. And
I'm trying to understand when was this?
In the 70s, the 60s, the 70s, and then it just the 80s.
I'm very close to the times that I grew up in this thing, so I'm trying to understand. Like, I mean, from your lens, you believe this, but I can't perceive it because the "Don't Push Me" because I'm close to the edge. The message you said you used to like black music is built off of the shit that we went through and the environments that y'all created.
I don't know.
That's why I call it the original sin, because it's a convicting thing. But the thing is, I understand for us to get away with it, not even get away with it, for us to call it the past, we have to address it. If you address it and actually deal with it, and you have to forgive yourself. This is not an indictment. This isn't. It is what I'm saying is that that they have to reconcile it with themselves by first knowing the truth, first knowing and accepting the truth, changing and challenging your own narrative. That's an internal thing, right? That's not for anybody to shame somebody in anything. That's just dealing with the truth. And it goes both ways, because honestly, y'all, there's no physical, mental, intelligent way that a people that come from caves could rule over people that built civilizations, unless the people that built the civilizations played a part in it.
Yeah, you know, I went to Berkeley. I was there in 1970. I was around the Panther Party. You know, I actually went to their first constitutional convention. You know, but what are you saying that the music that I liked was a result of? Are you saying that was just produced by the music industry? That it wasn't a real reflection of?
Oh, no. What I was saying about the message, which would go back to your time and era, that don't push me because I'm close to the edge. I'm trying not to leave my head broken glass everywhere. People push me on the concrete like they do. They were talking about that every rapper had a song about his mama, a woman that he or she loved, about a party that was nice, and multiple songs about depression, stress, trauma, somebody being murdered, killed, and down, bad things were. And they own all the big. There's still the same thing is out there, but it's more control. So it's manufactured by a small group of people that even shit on poor whites that are creating this narrative of criminalization and dysfunction and degeneracy. The parts of that are true are manufactured by the very people that are judging.
Yeah, but what about the Black Death? I've heard that they were.
We had what happened to Cosby's, what happened to BET,
No, I'm not.
What happened to Family Matters, what happened to those shows?
I'm not talking about TV shows. I'm talking about statistics.
Okay, so you remember that movie with James Earl Jones? It's on the tip of my tongue. And it's from 1974. Not sure. But it talked about the black family being split back then. There's multiple documentaries about the man in the house clause.
Oh, okay. So you're talking about maybe the welfare stuff. You can't get the welfare if the house.
Well, white women are the biggest recipients to this day from welfare.
Right.
White women were. This what welfare was for.
No, but the black family didn't need welfare in the 50s, or they weren't relying on it.
Usually getting a phone for $0 is too good to be true.
Yeah, but they were together.
But
they were
not at Verizon.
They didn't have
With the switch to Verizon,
They didn't have
America's
drugs
best
going
network,
into.
you can get
They
the
didn't have
Samsung
drugs in their
Galaxy
communities.
S26
They
Ultra
didn't
for
go into war.
$0.
They didn't also.
No hassles. No trading needed when you get a new line on an unlimited ultimate plan. Talk about a no-brainer. Best network based on root metrics, best overall mobile network performance, US 2H 2025. All rights reserved. See Verizon.com for details.